Let me know.
Mayor, I think you
We
have
are
your
live
phone on.
streaming. It is 9:08.
Good morning, and everyone, and welcome to the agenda meeting for the City of Lake Worth Beach, Florida of May 30th, 2025. Can we have the roll call, please?
Mayor Betty Resch,
Here.
Vice Mayor Sarah Maliga,
Present.
Commissioner Christopher McVoy,
Here.
Commissioner Mimi May,
Present.
Commissioner Anthony Segrich.
Present.
Hi, I thank you everyone for coming. Thank you staff for coming. I think Mr. Brown wants to start off with something this morning.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to throw out there that at some point we need to have a conversation on PBSO. Obviously, everyone's aware of our contract, and our contract includes so many deputies, sergeant, lieutenant, and stuff as part of that. They're getting put in a lot of directions. I'm not saying that because it's extremely pricey. Obviously, if we add additional deputies and personnel, to the tune of almost, I believe it's 200 per, depending on the actual position. But we've got a lot of, we're very needy. But we've got, boat issues out there in the intercoastal. We've got homeless issues. We've got illegal vehicle issues. We have all these different things. On top of that, they also have all the real work they're out there doing as well. That we all get those emails, so we see what happens on weekends and the other things that they're dealing with. And I won't go into all of those, but there's a lot of different things. So we at some point need to talk about priorities so they can start to prioritize these things and try to knock these things out instead of trying to do it all at one time and be so spread out. So I just wanted to mention that so we can kind of keep that in the back of our minds, and bring something forward at some point so we can start to prioritize these issues.
Yeah, it's a problem. So how do you think we should handle this? I mean, should we just have a conversation now? I see a couple of hands up. So let's have some responses to that. Ms. May?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I should maybe know this, but I don't. I would like to have at least the overall kind of schedule, not schedule, but how many deputies are assigned to us, how many are on shift at what times. And so that when you say we add deputies here, we add deputies there. Not having been in law enforcement, I have no idea how many people are actually working at the same time or anything like that. So I think that might be a little bit helpful even to start, so we can put it in perspective of how many people we have working at the same time and what we are actually asking them to do.
No problem. I can actually send you guys the contract, because in the contract there's a table broken out exactly how many of each officer we have in the contract. So I can send that out to all of you.
Thank you.
That'd be helpful.
I appreciate that. And all right, I'm gonna keep my other thoughts to myself for right now.
Okay, Mr. McVoy?
Yes, thank you. I don't think it takes a lot of complicated understanding of, their assignments and shifts and all that sort of thing to figure out that if we are telling individually or otherwise, PBSO, hey, pay a lot of attention to women single moms who sell tamales, then they have less time to actually work on people who might be selling drugs or might be about to do murders or whatever. I think we have gotten off course in asking PBSO to do things that really aren't, community safety. Real safety in the community is what they should be doing. And, noodling around with people selling a tool or tamales is kind of silly. And I see a lot of complaints about homeless stuff. And I have to say, I am regularly in Bryant Park. I do yoga there, people lying on the ground for 10 minutes at a time who are 80 years old, 80-year-old women doing that, and they're perfectly safe. It's fine. So some of this noise that we hear about how unsafe the Bryant Park is and we need patrols and officers, it's just not true. I'm there quite regularly and for long periods of time. I I think we have to be clear about priorities. Do you want them to work on serious crime, or do you want them to noodle around with stuff that's secondary?
Well, you've just said two things. I mean, one of the things that we are having problems with, despite what you say, is Bryant Park and people, people that live there. So, I'm just going to go to the next, Mr. Segrich and Sarah.
So in regards to Bryant Park, just real quick, I mean, I'm sure the people who were chased around by a gentleman with a knife on a pole the other week did not feel safe. But besides that, I think as a city, we need to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time. There are a lot of these needs. PBSO does get the lion's share of it, specifically in like parking enforcement and so on. I think it's a great idea to have a discussion about the priorities and see where we have gaps and try to fill and see where we can fill those. But I think a lot of these various different priorities, they all have to get done. As a city, we can't ignore them. And so we just need to figure out how. PBSO might not be the best resource for them, or they might be the best resource for them. And I'd be very open to having that conversation and outlining these priorities and creating a good strategy for it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's been the west side of the city has had a bit of a crime rate. Dangerous crime is kind of bad there right now. Sarah?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First, I'd like to say that we all talked about last year working on quality of life issues. And although Boy feels that
I can't hear you.
backed up.
Can
Can you hear me?
you just stop
Nope.
walking for a second? No, we can't hear you.
I said, although Commissioner McVoy feels that traffic being backed up and causing potential issues in a neighborhood isn't his priority, it's the taxpayer's priority in that neighborhood. And I happen to agree with Commissioner Segrich that we can't pick and choose. We need to enforce everything. And if that means we take a step back and we recreate our parking department to assist in the parking issues, we focus on getting park rangers to help patrol the parks. Now's the time to do this during budget. I would much rather put that money into employing city employees, park rangers, parking staff, than give more money to PBSO to tackle those issues. That's just my opinion.
Well, I don't think we have any more money to throw at PBSO. Mr. Brown? And I think that's the point, is we don't.
Well,
That's
there
exactly what
are,
discussed was the actual the funding. We just redid the contract with them last year. Obviously, it goes up. We did get a better deal than we thought we were going to be able to get when we negotiated all that. But it kind of comes down, and they've even asked for, hey, based on the needs of the city and what they're seeing out there and what they're dealing with, they need more people. Now, the other question is, can we afford to get more deputies is a whole other question. But same thing when we looked at like the fire numbers, fire will send stuff out to us quarterly, and we look at the number of calls they handle and all that. In terms of what they deal with in the rest of the county, we are extremely, we require,
active.
yeah, we're very active. We require a lot of their services. So when we talk about these things, we just need to keep in mind that we're asking a lot for the amount that we're paying for in the contract.
So my question is, Madam Mayor, you said that we
Mimi
can't
has
afford it.
her, Miss May has her hand
Okay.
up. Let's-
Okay, well, I wasn't finished, but
okay, go ahead.
you said we can't afford it, but in the there was a news article yesterday about the property values going up. So if we as a commission stop and say, we're going to prioritize life safety and quality of life issues with this increase in the tax base that we have, that's a decision that we can make. And creating real solutions that will last more than 6 months.
Well,
By
finance,
really
go ahead.
by redirecting our departments and investing in the things that we need to invest in.
Miss May?
I agree with that. And I also think that we need to think about the kind of the broken window theory. I mean, if we just whack-a-mole the biggest things, that doesn't seem to make sense because it's the quality of life issues that lead to, in my opinion, they lead to the bigger issues, and if we are able to work on the the quality of life issues, I believe that the bigger issues will start to decrease. That's my opinion at the, from studying sociology. I also think that I am not willing to use the phrase, we can't afford it, because that, my parents used to say that, we can't afford that. But that wasn't true. It was their choice not to spend money on whatever it was that I wanted. And I think that's where we are now. We have to look at the pot of money we have and prioritize. Do we want to put our money towards public safety, towards quality of life issues, or do we want to put it towards something else? And I think that the overall arching statement of we can't afford it, it just ends the conversation before it begins. And I think that we need to be able to be open-minded and have some conversations. And I also believe that making sweeping statements that everybody agrees with this, that's not true. So we all have different constituents calling us, giving us different reports of what's happening to them. And I'm not here just to tell you what's happening to me. I'm reporting what I'm hearing from the residents, and to say, oh, a blanket statement, that just calls the residents that talk to me liars. And that's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I am now. And I think we need to be open-minded and really, I understand that we can't continue to play whack-a-mole. I get that. But strategic planning on how we're going to handle some of these things, I believe, is the next step.
Well, okay, so just real quick, the biggest issue that I've been hearing lately is, downtown home, the mentally challenged people, violent people down harassing our lunch, the business people. And to me, that seems like, I'm hearing a lot of that, and that seems like a priority to me. Mimi, what would your priority?
I don't know that I feel comfortable going on the record naming one thing, because I believe they're all out, that all
that's all true.
is a priority.
So, Mr. Segrich, I see your hand is up. I'll be right back. I'm listening.
Yep. In terms of, again, I wouldn't go with one priority. I'm thinking we have to figure out how to resolve them all. But the large things that I'm hearing a lot about, H Street and East Coast, all the vehicles, the body shops doing work in the streets and so on is a big issue. Bryant Park, the various public right-of-ways in South Pond Park, with drug use, prostitution, encampment, and violence in those areas. Snook Island, with the boats, continues to be a large issue. Downtown, what other people have said. Those are some of the major quality of life issues, as well as on the west and south side of town, issues with drugs and prostitution and more hardcore crime. So I'm firmly in the camp of we do need to just sit and strategize and see if we can figure out creative ways to get these resolved with whatever resources we have.
Mr. Brown.
I didn't realize I started it up, but I put it up. Commissioner May was speaking because she had mentioned the comment. I forget who said it, but about the we can't afford this or that. It's not that we can't. We can definitely afford some things. It's just a matter of the fact we can't afford everything. So even last night, in talking about different CIP stuff, like we talked about the annex, like we have all these large picture things that all cost good amounts of money, and we can do some of those, but we can't do all of them. So
I agree, and that was my comment about prioritizing our funds in a way that people feel safe.
So we have a workshop.
As we move into that budget process in about a month here, that's going to be a key, especially for staff and getting direction. How do we kind of prioritize a lot of these funds? Because there are going to be things I can tell you right now, based on what we're going to have available, that are going to be a high priority that we just don't have the money to tackle when we're tackling other things that also fall in that high priority.
Thank you. Mr. McVoy?
No comment, essentially. I was just going to say that I do listen to constituents also. I also observe myself. It happens to be with Bryant Park that I'm there quite a bit and with other people. And so I keep my eyes open and see what I see. And it's very different than some of the accounts that I'm hearing. would like to report that I have heard from constituents that they were quite pleased to see that there was a PBSO car downtown, and thought that the presence of the car as well as other patrol was helpful to the downtown situation.
That's so funny because I just want to interrupt you for a second. I got an email saying how
What an
stupid the park.
unusual.
Well, no. That I got a phone call, an email that, putting an empty car downtown isn't going to do it. But
I don't know, but I
all
also
I'm
know.
saying, Mr. McVoy, we all get different reports from different.
Thank you for the second interruption. All I'm saying is I am a PhD soil scientist. I do not know how to tell PBSO to best do their job, what's most effective. I can have enough intelligence to say, if you dilute out the priorities, chances are they are not going to get to some things as much as we might like. So whether it's strategic thinking or prioritizing, I think there does need to be some of that. And what Manager Brown is telling us is, there are a lot of different things. You're going to have to make choices. You can't do all of them.
That's what we're going to have to go through during budget. Okay, so let me just, do we think does anybody think it would be worthwhile to have a meeting with the sheriff's office and help, because they're the ones on the street knowing what's going on. I see a hand up. I don't know whose it is. Oh, no, never mind. To have a meeting, to have a quick workshop with them to talk about it. We're talking about us and they're talking, maybe we should talk to each other. Mr. Brown.
Sorry. I suggest, I don't know if it's dropped on your calendars yet, but on, I believe it was June 26th, and Madam Clerk, if you could let me know if that date's correct. We did have a workshop we had set up for, to go over Ziskovich and the whole beach thing prior to putting that first task order forward with all of you. Right. If this is something you're interested in doing, we can easily add a PBSO item to that workshop.
What do you think?
I think that's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
No, I'm fine with that. I think it's important to discuss, and I also think it's very important that we get public feedback before we discuss it.
So well, you're okay with...
Okay. If we do a workshop, are we going to be able? I'm confused. Do we get public input in the workshop or not?
We can. We can waive public comment.
Well, if you guys want public comment, right, like if you're saying right now you want public comment and everything, we would just go ahead and make it a special meeting right off the bat. But
I think that's the best idea.
Workshop. So,
and can we please follow through on what we agreed as a commission recently, that on each announcement in the backup, whether it's special meeting or workshop, it says explicitly public comment is accepted, public comment is not accepted. We agreed to do that and we didn't do it.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Segrich.
I'm in agreement.
Okay. All right. So special meeting 26.
Madam Clerk, can you put that date for me, please?
Yes, June 26th is the day, and I'll just have it changed from a workshop to a special meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And also, Madam Clerk, like Commissioner Voigt just mentioned, can we make sure that the language?
Yes, I emailed MuniCode because I don't have control over the agenda templates.
Oh.
To add I create the agendas, but the templates are set by MuniCode. So I emailed them last night to put something in color on each agenda.
Thank you.
Regarding public comment. And also it was added boldly to the public comment page where people submit the comments online. That was added a while ago.
Thank you. Okay, so moving right along, I have to cut out at 5 because I've got a Zoom court hearing at 10. So want to talk about who wants to talk about the agenda?
Can I just, if you have to leave, Madam Mayor, I need consensus to add something to the agenda.
Okay.
I believe that you attended a ceremony 2 weeks ago in Murray Hills for a World War II veteran.
I don't think
did you go?
No.
Okay. Well, Murray Hills has a veteran who is 98, I believe. And I would like to bring him in and present him with a Hometown Hero Challenge coin. Murray Hills as a board has reached out to us to do so.
Yeah.
And I just need consensus to be able to put it on the calendar.
Because he's a hero?
Because he's a hero. He's a war hero.
Okay, I mean, I have no objection. I mean, are we gonna get a flood of word here or questions? Mr. Segrich, do you have a response?
That's fine by me.
Okay. Ms. May,
It's fine by me.
Mr. McVoy?
I only have the same question. What is our criteria for deciding to do these? Is anybody who served in a war that's above a certain age is eligible? I mean, I'm not quite sure how this works. I think
Well,
it's,
It's
nice
been,
to honor,
I know
but
that a a large group of people has requested it. He's apparently, outstanding in his field. So I do agree. Ms. May, do you have your hand up?
I do, but not about this item.
Okay.
Something else about the agenda.
Okay. So,
Is
I
that
think we've-
consensus?
I think so.
Thank you.
I do,
Yeah,
and my hand is up to discuss putting things on the agenda like these things, so I wanted to ask a couple
okay,
questions.
so why don't we go with Ms. May?
Okay, thank you, I'm sorry. The proclamations and the invitations for flag raisings and stuff, I personally don't have a problem with any of it. I just want to know, how does it get decided which ones get on the
Zoom call,
agenda
sure.
each year? Because Vice Mayor Maliga said, okay, well, let's put this on.
Okay.
But
well,
the
I'm
other
gonna do-
one, are you, Betty, can you mute yourself, please?
Yes, I'm sorry.
But the other ones that we have on here, the presentations, are just there, and I don't remember us voting on those, and I know that it's probably, we do it every year. But is that our policy? We do it every year, or do we discuss the ones that we're gonna put on every year? I wanted to just have that out in the open, because I've gotten questions about that.
About proclamations?
About proclamations and flag raisings, yes.
Madam Mayor?
Yep.
So that actually is going to be a topic on the special meeting on June 26th. So that there can be direction from the commission going forward on how we decide what proclamations are put on the agenda and what flags are raised. Because there is nothing. It's just people ask, and I know it takes a lot of time, so there needs to be direction from all of you, how you'd like to see that happen going forward.
So we have the beach, the police, and now flags.
Flags and proclamations, yes.
It's gonna be a long meeting. Okay.
I want cake.
We'll get you a birthday
We'll
cake.
take care of you. We'll take care of you. We'll take care of you. Mr. McVoy, real quick. Mr. McVoy?
yeah, just a question. At one point on this coming meeting, there was a abandonment of a right-of-way about 13th Avenue South. I'm not seeing it. Is that because it was taken back off the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think they
It'll be
requested-
on the June 17th meeting, Commissioner. The applicants requested it be moved to June 17th.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't losing my eyesight here.
Mr. Segrich?
Very quick, I wanted to ask consensus to have the Discover the Palm Beaches group come and do a presentation. They've asked a few times.
I have no problem with that.
I have no problem with that.
Okay.
How is that different from the Tourism Bureau? Is that more or less
It's the same.
people? Okay,
It's the
thank
same.
you.
We just didn't have record of the last time I brought it up.
Cool. Okay, thanks. I
And
did have a short, oh, no, sorry.
so I did want to request that when we discuss the budget items in this meeting, if we could discuss each one individually. I think that would be better than discussing them all as one lump. That was just a suggestion for us. And then the last thing on the agenda, on the discretionary funds policy, I had thought we had given direction in the last meeting not to do the 50% thing during the election year, but somehow that was still in there. So those were my items.
I don't know I think I disagreed with the group about the discretionary funds. I don't understand that reasoning at all. So
Well,
I don't know.
I thought
I
your
thought we had.
position prevailed, Mayor.
Oh,
I
good.
thought
Thank
so
you.
too.
All right,
And,
then.
and that's why I was questioning why, that's there. 'Cause I thought the opposing, I thought your position prevailed and it shouldn't be there.
Okay, well, I'm fine with that, obviously.
That was my recollection also. Thank you, Commissioner
right.
Segrich.
So that can come off the agenda?
At least that item of it.
I'm sorry,
Right.
Madam Mayor?
Yeah.
So during that item, you can just request to have, my recollection was that 2 of the commissioners were for it. 1 was sort of on the fence and 2 were against it. So I just felt it would be discussed during the item. And if you all decide you don't want that, that part will just be taken out.
Okay, that item, that agenda item, perfect.
No, I'm
Uh,
sorry, the 50% item, we do need a policy. But I
No,
mean,
well, we get-
that portion of it,
Why do you need a policy? You get discretionary funds and
we need a policy regarding deadlines and the procedure.
deadlines, yes, absolutely. No, I think that we should, because I know that if, it's unfair to finance to put a request in for something 3 days before the end of budget season.
Right,
So I
and
think-
that's been happening. So if you would like,
Yeah.
I can change it and take that, take out the 3rd thing and republish after the meeting.
If I understood correctly, I think the mayor thought in general, other than the deadline, that we didn't really need all these guidelines, which I would agree with. It's discretionary funds.
Right, so we'll just do a deadline.
So that would
I'm
just
sorry,
be,
but what about the procedure? Because these are issues that have come up, and this is to address the issues. So everybody understands that to be paid, somebody has to be a vendor, it has to be in writing,
Right.
etc.
It's always been like that, though, as far as
Okay.
I mean, since I've been in.
yep, me
Yeah,
too.
but
Just
people
give it to
haven't been
somebody.
following it, and if we're doing a policy, I believe it should be in there, and so did some people in finance.
That's fine, but I mean, yeah, but I mean, as long as the time frame, we need to know who to give it to. That's not a problem.
Okay,
But-
Madam Mayor?
It-
Yeah.
And when she's mentioning people in finance, this is also from an auditing standpoint. We just need to make sure we have have an actual policy and the right procedures in place so we can make sure we're following it. So it's more from an auditing standpoint as well.
I'm sorry, from what standpoint? Auditing?
Auditing,
So I thought you said.
making sure we have an actual policy in place so we can then say, yes, we are following the policy, or no, we are not following the policy, but we need to
Okay,
have
so
some policy in place.
what do you think would be a good deadline? August 1st? July 15th? Mr. Nagando? Yannick?
Yannick with finance.
Sorry.
A good deadline would be August 1st,
Okay.
end of July. That way we have 2 months.
So drop
No.
dead of August 1st. If it doesn't get in by July 30 days after 30,
Correct.
30, it doesn't go. It's simple.
Correct.
Okay. And it has to go to certain things. Miss May, I see your hands up. This after meeting.
It wasn't about this.
Okay,
I
Mr.
don't know
McBoy's,
that,
is
but
it about,
I do have more on the agenda. I just wanted to support what Anthony said, when he said that we should separate the 5 items on the budget amendments. I think that it would be, I don't want to make a motion to approve or disapprove all 5 of these, because I think we need to take each one of them separately. And I really agree with that, because they're all standalone things. I don't think we do the whole thing at once.
I mean, you do have the option to decline. You don't have to approve all of them at once.
No, I understand that, but I just think sometimes when we discuss things, we discuss a giant thing all in one thing. And I just think it's important that we say, okay, we're going to talk about item 1. We're going to talk about item 2. We're going to talk
Oh,
about
okay.
Right.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Kind of directing the conversation. And the
Okay.
only, I had 2 more quick things, Mayor.
okay,
One,
go ahead. Okay,
one
good.
is in regard to policy for our meetings when we take public comment. I would like to put forward that we take public comment first.
We used to do that. We did that for a
Before
while.
our discussion, for two reasons. One, then we don't forget and the public doesn't feel slighted, which I
Right.
feel horrible when that happens. And secondly, because I think that their opinion is very important, and then we need to listen to that. I mean, if we just tell them how we think, then they don't feel like we're listening to
No,
them.
I agree with that. And as a matter of fact, when we started out, when Chris and Sarah, we did it that way. And
I think
somehow it
that's
went.
how we should do it.
I have no
don't
problem
know
with
if hopefully other people agree.
So
I'm
a
fine with
motion, a
that.
second, public comment, discussion.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
And wait, there was one
No,
more
I'm not.
thing on, now I forgot it. Oh, and this might be for the city manager. When we are discussing the referenda, what is the policy for where do we get consensus for what types of items we would like to put out for a referenda?
Did where or when? I'm sorry.
I guess my question is, if I, like, for example, we've talked a few times about having the policy of term limits be maybe altered to three-year terms. And I don't want to miss the window of being able to discuss that and possibly putting it forward on a referenda for the citizens to vote on.
Okay. Yeah. So we're going to be having, whether it's a workshop or a special meeting, staff will be bringing forward recommendations, just kind of an initial sweep of what, in working with Ziskovich and everything, things that we feel would probably need to be on for a referendum for next March. And during that discussion, is if any of you have things you think should possibly be changed, or questions you have in the charter, things you might want to see modified, that would be the time to have that conversation.
And with us talking about triple Ps and with, developers that are approaching us, that 20-year limit might be one of them that we're going to have to consider as on a referendum. Mr. McBoy?
Yeah, I kind of would prefer, rather than staff suggesting what referenda we might want to consider, I think maybe the commission should take the lead. Whoever is, thinks something is important to put on that.
I just wanted to know when we could do that.
Yeah, and we're going to have a meeting about it, so we'll all be talking about it.
My other was a detail a while back. I asked in regard to what I see will now be on the June something or other meeting. I had put in a request previously, and I would like to reiterate that, and I think there was support for it, probably at a previous pre-agenda, that as backup for that abandonment, please provide to the commission all calls for service and their resolution. These are calls for service to PBSO for that right-of-way on 13th Avenue South. And please provide all communications from the city between the city and property owners and their representatives, so that we can see the background on it. I also, in one version of the language that was floating around, there was a whereas clause that said the current owners seeks the abandonment in order to improve the health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood. And then we later on say this is a true statement. It's kind of weird for the current owners to be saying they want to improve the health, safety, and welfare. I think we need to be a little more accurate. And if we think this is an improvement, we have to say that, not the current owners. But that was previous language. I don't know if it's still there, but that's
thank
all.
you. Mr. Segrich, your hand is up.
I was just gonna second what Mimi said. I would like to see the term limit on the referendum, and also what was the other thing? I forgot the second thing, but
The public comment coming first?
oh yes, yeah, public comment coming first.
I like that, actually. We used to do
Yep.
that, but we've got to have a motion in a second to get started, and we'll just do public comment and then our discussions. I think that's good. I agree with that. Agenda items, anybody else? Anybody got anything to add? Got anything? Quiet morning.
It's a lot
Um,
of meetings in very few days to jump
it's a
from.
lot going on. I know we were there. Just saw you all at 10 o'clock last night.
It's good. It's a good thing, but it's, you
Yeah.
know, one,
gonna bring
one
up
notebook,
one-
one notebook at a time.
Please, my notebooks
Do
are
we-
stacked.
I'm
one
sorry,
thing-
Madam Mayor. I'm driving, so I can't raise my hand.
Okay,
I just wanted to find out where we were with the advisory board appointments. I didn't see it on the new calendar that was sent out.
right.
Good call. That has to be coming ASAP.
I was thinking about that this morning.
Madam Mayor?
Yep.
So the ordinance has been revised and we will be taking that up when Elizabeth gets back. So she's looking it over and it'll probably be maybe the first or second meeting in July because we
With
have
all
to
due,
do
res-
that
with
first.
all due respect, I don't
ordinance?
think we wait on anybody that is not an elected official. Melissa is one of many that works at a law firm. Somebody else can do it.
Okay,
Well, I don't know I don't know what changes we're making to the
You mean-
ordinance. We're looking,
You
I
mean
thought we were,
Elizabeth?
I'm sorry?
I was just saying, me means Elizabeth. I agree that anybody at the law firm should be able to do it. I think the changes that we put forward were taking off the serving at the pleasure of. We wanted to go back to expiration dates so we could just fill them as they came. That was one of the things we talked about.
And talking about appointing versus voting 1 day of interviews.
We're gonna have to talk about that. And are we
Yeah.
doing
We
it?
don't need Elizabeth to talk about that, though.
Are we
can put
doing
it on the
district?
17th.
Are we doing district appointments or so the procedure? So let's get that on as soon as we possibly can. I agree. Because I mean, some of the people are working with, they're expired at this point. So I'd like to get that done. And there was a reason that we did pleasure because of the rule that if you're on a board, you can't be taken off a board unless like for cause. And some people weren't happy with that. So let's get it back on. I'm going to bring something up, and I'm getting time crunched. The tree in front of Dave's is big. People are upset about it, and I'm going to ask Mr. Brown at the meeting, not now, but for Tuesday, just to give you a heads up. If you could just go into the reasons it's happening, so that people understand we're not just mean people that want to cut down that amazing tree, because nobody wants to cut it down. But if we could just get some expert discussion or expert opinion on it, that would be helpful for the people out there that are as concerned.
Okay, I'll pull some info from the arborist and stuff at Chenmore. We have the map of downtown. I'll get Mina, or my assistant director of public works, and Annie from community sustainability. They were at the tree board
Just so
meeting.
that we.
Yeah, they'll
people
pull the notes
understand.
because it was brought up at the tree board meeting too, to get consensus from them as well. So yeah, there's been a lot of background, but just a blanket statement. The roots are they've gotten way too large. The tree can't remain there. It's ADA issues. They've grown completely under the building. If we trimmed all that we need to trim in order to make everything flat, the tree is now unstable. So we now have a whole other situation going into storm season that, a nice little gust that blows into the building. It's a lot of reasons, but it's gotten way too large for that current space. But I'll get some stuff together for the meeting on Tuesday.
My memory is that all those trees were planted about 20 odd years ago when we redid when Lake Avenue was worked on. Am I wrong? Chris, do you remember?
No, I don't remember, but I think that sounds similar to what I would guess.
Yeah. I mean, they're not trees that have been there for 100 years. They're trees that have been planted, and I don't know why that one tree has gone so crazy. And maybe we can come up with a plan that doesn't happen again. We will replace that tree at that corner. Is that the?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'll pull the information and I'll have an update for everyone on Tuesday, but so everyone's aware. Dave, the owner of that business, is aware.
Dave.
He's in favor of it. We're going to obviously make sure that we're going to adjust his outdoor seating while all that would take place. So much like during COVID, it was actually on the side street in the loading zone. So all that's being taken care of, but I'll have an update for you on Tuesday.
It's very funny. And Anthony, I was really reflecting on something with you the other day. You had, at the last meeting, you asked a question about why we have charged something. And I think Melissa explained it to you and you're like, oh, okay, right. That makes sense. And this is what I think, the more information we get to people about why we do, and people, especially when you go on Facebook, think we're just idiots that hate the city and don't want to do anything right. And there's generally a reason for the way that things are done. So I it was a good example, Anthony, that you were like, oh, yeah, right. So I think the more info we can get, the kind of brings the tone down of the stuff. I see your hand is raised.
I just had one last thing on the agenda in the budget amendment. We are being asked to allocate some very large chunks of funds to moving some buildings. And I want us, just to really do our research on that as commissioners, because I think there's a lot of quality of life issues, and we're talking about resource issues and being resource constrained. Sometimes, some buildings like that could be recreated for a lot cheaper than moving them. And so I just want us to, really think about and consider whether or not it's the best use of city funds to be moving those buildings. And I know it's a topic about the historic nature of those buildings. But when looking at some of those buildings and they're a complete gut rehab, what is it that we're actually saving other than a square box with aluminum siding? So there's definitely going to be some of that. Then we have another building that's almost practically brand new, and we invested a lot, a good deal of money in making that a beautiful building. But again, the cost of moving and reconfiguring it. Do we need that asset, and can we recreate it cheaper so that we can utilize some of these funds elsewhere on some of the other things that the citizens are asking for?
Okay. Anybody else have anything? I need to sort of pack up and go because I just got a text. I have to be at my office for the Zoom meeting. So, Madam Vice Mayor, can I turn this over to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna bow out. I just got a text from my paralegal that my client is actually in my office, which I didn't realize he was coming. So, see you all Tuesday. Thank you very
Yes, ma'am.
much. Appreciate it.
Be
Good
well.
night. I'll do my best. Thanks, you too.
So I think that right now we've heard from Commissioner May and Commissioner Segrich in regards to any questions or anything they want to bring forward. Commissioner McVoy, do you have anything?
I think I'm okay, thank you.
Okay, just to recap, I wanted to remind everyone that tomorrow we are having a cleanup downtown with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's PALS program, the Explorers, and the kids from For the Children from 8 to 12. Setup is at the Cultural Plaza. Please come out if you have any time and help us clean up the downtown. We will be focusing on Lake and Lucerne between Federal and Dixie and the side streets, doing a cleanup as well as removing all the stickers from the poles. And I want to thank Public Works for getting us the materials that we need to make that happen. So if you guys have any time, please come out tomorrow from 8 to 12 and help the kids out.
You're gonna have pickers and bags and.
Yep. Oh yeah, I'm picking all that up today.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I am, as probably noted, in Madison, Wisconsin, so will not be able to attend that.
Chris needs.
Oh, come on, Chris.
Needs a really long picker. Can you give that for him?
There
Yes,
you go.
we can. All right. Well, thank you everybody for your hard work. Let's continue to stay focused. As like I said, last night was very successful. And I think that if we can just stay focused and keep the rhetoric and the chit chat to a minimum, we actually can get through the agendas and get stuff done.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Do I have a second?
We don't need it. We don't do motions.
I know, I was just trying to make fill that awkward silence.
All right.
Have a
Well, I
great
appreciate
weekend,
everybody.
everyone.
There you go.
Be well. Bye-bye.
Bye.